Ilyasova from Australia knocking down the three, and it's a 2-point Gonzaga lead. Terry Gannon, Stephen Bardo with you as the number 14 team in the nation. Gonzaga is on the road. It's been a great match. This is not an easy place to play. It's always loud, Stephen. It's raucous, but especially when the Zags come to town.
Well, the Zags are the cream of the crop here. And anytime St. Mary's gets a chance to knock the big dog off the block, they take it.
The Zags out to an early lead, but St. Mary's coming right back, and it's a 2-point game at this point. Glad to have you with us. They're always crazy behind us here whenever we come to Moraga, and it seems like we meet here every year this time of year with the conference schedule just underway, and we're talking, can Gonzaga repeat as the regular season champ, and can St. Mary's make a run and knock them off? We're doing it again.
Yeah, we're doing it again. 14th in the country is Gonzaga with that terrific non-conference schedule. Yeah. But St. Mary's is critical, Terry, unlike a lot of conferences, for St. Mary's to get one of these victories against Gonzaga in the minds of people around the country for an NCAA bid. So it's very early in conference play, but this is a critical game for the Gales.
They did it a couple of years ago. Couldn't get them here last year, even though it was a close game. Early on in the West Coast Conference, it's again the Zags with a bullseye on their backs, the number 14 in the nation, a murderous non-conference schedule. The Gales have reloaded. Diamond Simpson gone, Patty Mills gone, but guess what? They're 15-2 and they're rolling. In Portland, maybe the team around the country that people don't know about, but the Pilots have a couple of big non-conference wins to their credit already and took Gonzaga right down to the wire in the matchup just the other night. So it's not just a two-team league this year. I think Portland will be in the mix. Much like St. Mary's, most of their guys can shoot it and shoot it beyond the arc.
Well, Gonzaga felt that the other night going into Portland and struggling there, but came out with a victory. Portland has some very good non-conference wins as well, Terry. So this is a team that is capable, but like St. Mary's, has to get some big wins and has to try to knock off Gonzaga in the eyes of people around the country.
The beat goes on. That's the storyline every year in the conference. How about our Star Watch tonight? Matt Bolden, one of the best, not only out west, but in the country. And Omar Samhan, who leads the WCC in both points per game and rebounds per game.
Well, Omar Samhan is a terrific example of hard work throughout his career. And Matt Bolden may be as skilled of a point guard as we can see around the country.
So Thursday night showcase presented by Two Row Price, underway and rolling, all part of our conference tip-off, which and we get into conference season, and it is a different mindset. You don't get a break. You don't get a chance to catch your breath. It's night in, night out.
Yeah, and they go back and forth. And when you look at a Gonzaga ball club that, as you mentioned, Terry, has won 9 straight conference titles, they get everyone's best shot, whether they're on national TV or not. They can go to San Francisco. They can go to Pepperdine. They're going to get their best shot every game.
Bo Kong, a sophomore, originally from Sudan by way of Canada, now on the floor for Mark Few. Will Foster, 7'5" in there, and you would expect to see a lot of him tonight, especially on the defensive end, matching up with Omar Samhan.
Yeah, he's got the size to deter Omar from his one-on-one back to the basket moves, but Omar's pretty crafty, Terry. I wouldn't be surprised to see him move his game out away from the bucket a little bit.
Stephen Gray gives it off to Elias Harris. They don't get the shot off, and that's a cardinal sin, especially coming out of a timeout. Mark Few, in his 11th season as the head coach, has set the standard. There's no question about it. Number 2 in wins at Gonzaga, number 2 all-time in the West Coast Conference, and second in terms of active winning percentage in college basketball, right behind Roy Williams. Ben Allen, the transfer from Indiana, the up and under and over the 7'5" center, Foster.
Ooh, man, that was a pretty fundamental move by Ben Allen. And who think young people, fundamentals are pretty, especially when they work.
Harris can't get the roll, but the contact, and he'll go to the free throw line. Ben Allen picks up his second foul. Randy Bennett, who's absolutely turned things around here at St. Mary's. I know 3-17 against Gonzaga, but guess what? That's better than most in the West Coast Conference.
Well, since the 2003-2004 season, Gonzaga has only lost 6 games in conference. 3 of them are to St. Mary's.
Yep, exactly.
So they're doing a fantastic job in terms of matching up and trying to get establish themselves as a power year in, year out.
And they've got that Aussie connection still rolling. It started with Adam Caporn and Daniel Kickert, who came in, and then Patty Mills, obviously, but they just keep getting kids from down under, and good ones. Dellavedova, the calling card, but Jordan Page also here, Mitchell Young on this roster too. Clint Steindl, who's now in the starting lineup the last couple of weeks.
Well, if you talk to Omar Samhan about his Australian teammates, he says they speak a different language, even though it's supposed to be English. They can talk amongst themselves, and the opposing team doesn't know what the heck they're saying.
You know, it's that old Oscar Wilde saying about Great Britain and America, two great civilizations separated by a common language. You have no idea what they're talking about. Omar Samhan, the miss. Here comes Harris. He'll be a tough matchup all season long, but especially tonight. And he'll go to the free throw line.
Elias Harris is so athletic, so fast. And he's playing the power forward position, but you can see he has the ability to put it on the deck. And so St. Mary's, whoever they come in and try to check up with him, going to have their hands full. And he's really been aggressive, Terry, in the last 5 or 6 games.
Harris with 7 in the game already. Drew the foul on the freshman. Another one from Australia, Mitchell Young, who's really come on for St. Mary's. Now remember, St. Mary's early on this season lost Wayne Hunter to a torn ACL. He just had surgery a week ago. He's out for the year. He hopes to come back with a medical red shirt, but he would be the guy tonight, the defender. He's their best perimeter defender. And you match up with, say, Bolden, now you've got other guys trying to match up. Dellavedova, nothing but net beyond the arc. That's his second of the game.
Terry, the floor spacing allowed Dellavedova that shot. Trying to stop Omar Samhan from getting the ball in the paint. They spread it so well, they kick it to the wing. Dellavedova's wide open.
Dellavedova with 9 in the game. Bolden lets it fly. Two teams that like to get up and down, run, let it fly. And Matt Bolden, who averages 15 a game, bites the 3.
We're going to talk about him in depth a little bit later. But that handle that he has, not looking down, handles the ball.
I don't think there's anybody like him in college basketball that way.
And that goes up with the shot from a reverse between the legs bounce to get some space. Watch, look here. He's sitting there toying with Young, who's 6'8", 6'9", doesn't want to get exposed on the perimeter.
But he's looking elsewhere too as he takes that last hard bounce for rhythm on his jump shot, knowing that he's going up. Now down low on the block, kicks it out to Harris.
Harris wise not to take that 3. He's had a couple opportunities from there. He'll be much more effective around the bucket.
Foster, the senior, plays inside out. Here's Gray, the pull-up. That's a tough shot, and he got it over Mitchell Young, who's 6'9". Gonzaga 7 of 10 from the floor to start the game.
Stephen Gray, known for that pretty jumper of his, but that was over the outstretched hands of a 6'9" defender. So that's great concentration by Gray.
Samhan trying to pull Foster away from the basket. Tipped up, no, and Gonzaga clears. That's a tough assignment for Samhan to try to score there, and the lob and the dunk from Gray to Harris. How do you like that? And the timeout called to stop the run.
When you have the combination of a great athlete and someone working hard like Elias Harris, this is the result right there. Getting behind the defense, Stephen Gray with the nice dime. And then before Stephen Gray up fake, gets over the defender and nothing but cotton.